Hello YouTube, and welcome to hopefully a start of a newer series, and I'm going to be doing trees. Now I've already got tree tutorials on my channel, but they take a long time for me to do, they're quite boring for me to do, they're quite hard to follow along, and they're also quite boring to watch, and they're not really helpful. It's just sort of block by block tutorial. So these are sort of like how to with your custom trees, and I'm going to be doing different ones for different types, and all of these trees that will be in my video I'm going to release in a like tree pack on Planet Minecraft. So you know, here we've got small horse chestnut tree, a small oak tree, small elm, small ash, and a small alder tree. We've only got two big ones because the big ones take a while, but I figured why not build a big one for my first video. Obviously people can do basic small trees quite well, so we're going to go for a really big tree right now. So the first thing that I do when I'm going for my trees is I go to Google, and beech tree is the next tree that I'm going to do in the pack. I'm aiming to have about 7 in there, so this is going to be the next one, beech trees. So I've just, you know, Google the beech tree, very simple. Go on Google Images, scroll down and try and find what shapes are quite similar, what keeps reoccurring over and over again in the shapes of these trees. And so what I can see here, it's quite a dome shape. It's similar to an oak, but it goes up quite steep and then cuts across quite flat. So it's a very small curve, like a short curve there. So that's the start of my trees. These are also really cool. This is like a copper beech tree. You could make it with metadatas, but I'm not too sure if it works. So the one I'm going to go for is this one, and just make that full size. I'm just going to be flicking back into this image as well throughout this video. So right, Minecraft then. So what we're going to do for this tree is oak wood, and I'll worry about the materials after I make the trees. As you can see, most of them are normally oak leaves and oak logs, and then if I need to afterwards, that's when I decide what leaves needs to be changed and what logs need to be changed as well. I think for the beech tree I'll probably end up using acacia. So let's have a look at this tree again. The trunk looks quite thick there. We've got one main branch going up here and one that's probably going to stem off into 2 or 3 here. How big do we think this tree is? Say humans maybe about this size? No, so about there. Well, we're roughly going to make this tree about the same height as the large oak over there. So we'll just build basically a nice straight line, just so we know roughly where the height's going to be. This is how I start off with most of my trees. Then we're going to want to beef up the bottom of the trunk because it is quite thick there at the bottom. So basically just building it all up like this, and that's just a very simple start, and I will be going back to that, but probably at the end of the tree or halfway through the video. So what I'm going to do now is start working on that branch that was coming off to the side there, and already I don't like this. There we go, that's okay. So we're going back to this image. You can see it splits off there, so I'm going to work on this side of the tree first, and this is really great for getting a style down. If you just basically copy an image roughly from using your eye and stuff like that, that will help you get a sense for the style that you're making, like the tree, and then it'll be pretty simple then to actually make the rest of it, to make other versions of the tree as well. So I'm just going to go up like this, and I think already I've cut myself a bit short, so I'm going to go up by about 3 blocks like this. Just keep it quite simple. Go up by 3 blocks, go up by 2, And as you can see, I've also just gone in a straight line, just coming off at an angle, going up in a straight line. And what's great about Minecraft is even at a diagonal, by doing it that way, it doesn't look that bad. Obviously if you just went up in a straight line like that, then it would look pretty bad. So we've got that going off in that direction, and this is going to be the second main branch, so we want that to come off sort of in another direction. When I do my main branches, I try to go off in 3 different directions. So there's one going up that way, and we want our second one now. Going back to this tree, now I'm seeing this shape here. This is basically the main one that goes all the way up, so that is going to come forward for my tree, and we're going to go from about here, just go up by 4 blocks then. Alright, I misclicked. Come out 1 and up 1 and go up another 4 blocks, come forwards 1, go up 3, come out to the right, go up 2, and then we can delete all of this branch all the way down to there. So that's looking okay. And then for the third sort of main branch that's gone up there, we want one that's going to sort of come out like this. That's a shape that I'm sort of roughly seeing. So if we do that coming out in this direction, just a nice little shallow one, we'll do it from how should we do this? We'll go like this, and I'm going like that, 2 blocks out. Now we'll go up another block, up a block, out a block, up and out, and I might just leave it at that for now, and we'll maybe make it wider later on. So now that I've done the main sort of 3 branches, I need to start adding some smaller branches that are going to stem off this, just to fill some of the space for where the leaves are going to go. So we've got these 3 main directions, and obviously I'm going to want to have some more main branches coming off of these main branches. If I go back to Google, so we've got like this first main branch going up there, but then you can also see you've got this main one coming out here, you've got another one coming out there, got another one just in the background there. So they're the sort of ones that I'm going to be working on now. So just coming out 2 blocks, and then another block, and it doesn't have to be exact, it doesn't have to be like a perfect measurement or anything, but basically the general rule is that I go by, if that blocks 4 blocks and that blocks 3 blocks and that blocks 3 blocks, this one can never be more than 3 blocks. Same like I've done here, that's come out 2, so these can't really, like if that was 3 blocks long, that looks a bit weird to me, the fact that it's so straight out in that direction. So what I'm actually going to do is make that 2 blocks, pull that out 1, pull that out 1 as well, and we need to do another branch a little bit higher up, and this one is going to go at a more of a curved angle, so it's going to go up, it's going to come out, and it's also going to go down. As you can see, I've got lots of different ones here, and it doesn't really matter which blocks that you actually punch away, the general shape of the tree will normally still look pretty good. So just by doing that, got a nice little curve going on here for this branch. I'm just going to come forwards and out and down again as well. So there's 2 branches stemming off of this first main branch that I'm also just going to go punch it out 1 more block. Oh, God. So now that I've done that, I'm going to do that for these other 2 branches as well. This one's looking a bit small now, but yeah, so we'll extend this one by another 3 blocks, just simply like that. And already I think I've just broken my rule of saying that that was that, but it's more of just a judgment thing and a guidance thing. Sometimes it will work, most of the time it won't, so that's just something you've got to watch for. So yeah, we want to get some nice branches coming off of here as well. So we'll go down and out 2, come down, inwards and out 2. And these ones don't have to be really long, because these are just going to be filling some gaps in the middle of the branches. And then coming out here, ooh, I think I'm going to have a weirdly shaped one now. I'm going to go up, up. It'll be quite a twisty branch, this one. Like this. Then it can start to level itself out a bit. And one more. That looks okay. And then this main top branch as well. What I'm also going to do coming off from here is do another sort of main stem that's just going to come to the back of the tree just to give some shape over here. So then we sort of have 4 main branches there coming out. Just go up another one like that, and back to the front here, just gonna come forwards like this. Just doesn't have to be really detailed, and especially with this style, it doesn't matter which way the branches are facing, the logs are facing, sorry. How's that looking? I think that's okay for now for a basic frame of the tree, and it's already looking quite good. I really don't think it's going to look like a beech tree when I'm finished. That's going to take quite a bit of effort afterwards, but it's looking quite nice. You know, you're going to have sort of rounded balloon shape almost by the looks of it. So now that I've done these extra branches, now it's time to go and add some small, even smaller branches to the extra ones that you've just done. And these are literally just going to be 2 or 3 blocks coming off. Again, just adding a bit of extra sort of length to these trees. So just coming off sort of like here, just come down a bit, and out and down a bit, and then just punch out a few of those blocks there and there. So it's just, again, just filling up some of the space that you've just used from that, those main branches. Just it'll all make sense when I start to put the leaves on. Let's put it that way. Like that, and you can have one coming off here, I think, like that, and then. Let's see, we'll go down here. This can just be a nice simple one that goes out 2 instead of 3 blocks all the time. We do have quite a big gap here, don't we, in our tree? How can we sort of fix that? Maybe I have a branch that cuts back into the tree. It just goes down real simply like that. Come in here. Just do this. This one we can have go in sort of down. And if you noticed, like a sort of common theme that I'm doing is I'm making sure that most of the logs are at an angle to one another. So they're always like sort of touching either the edge and the up like this at a corner, or they are in a corner and the up in a direction. They're not really. Let's find an example where I've misclicked. Not really going out like this. There's the example I was looking for. You know, where it's going up in a straight line and coming out sideways. I think I've got one over here as well, like this. They're not always like that, not very often. You kind of want them to go off at an angle. It just adds more to the random shape of the tree and gives it a bit more of a natural look, in my opinion. So I'll just rush through placing the rest of these few blocks now. Maybe speed up the video depending on how long the rest of the video is going to take. And just before we get to the point, because I'll decide I'll explain it now. When there are different ways of making trees, people have different methods, of course. With everything in Minecraft, there's always an alternate way to building something. And with my trees, oh dear, I've just realised I can already see a really big problem with this tree. You see, it's really long across that width, but when you come round to this side of the tree, it's really, really short. and I don't know why, but this is something that I do quite a lot with trees. I don't know how I end up doing it. I do always fix it, of course, but it is just something that I end up doing quite a lot accidentally. I'm just going to add a few more blocks to this side and a few more blocks to the other side, just to help rescue that from looking so terrible. So make it look a bit better now. Yeah, so now it's quite a bit wider at the sides. That's a bit nicer. So what I was going to say, different ways you can make trees. You know, there's a lot of people who use world edit brushes, and they'll do it with a brush of like so many leaves and so much air and stuff like that. Sometimes that makes good trees. It's a very quick way to make trees, and if it's done right, it does look good. And then there's also the way of just spam clicking leaves everywhere and then just going back here and there, removing the odd bit of leaf where it's needed, which again, it's quite a quick, simple way of doing it, and it doesn't really require much of a thought process either. It's just sort of like, yeah, we'll put one here, we'll put one there, see how all that looks. And then there's the way that I do, and I really like the method that I use when it's used well. So what I'm doing on my trees, if you don't already know, is I've got fence blocks here, and I attach the leaves to every side of the fence block. So I've got, say that's a branch on the tree, I go all the sides of the tree, underneath the tree, and the top of the tree. And the reason I do that is because you get these nice shapes. Obviously that's not a very nice shape, but if you look at some of these trees, especially the larger ones, you get these nice air pockets which are very realistic. It lets a lot of light underneath the tree. It creates a nice atmosphere underneath as well. So that's just a reason for why I do my trees like that. And I think I'm also going to add another main branch coming off of here, just because I've just remembered the shape of this beech tree that we looked at, and it's quite steep on the sides. So I'm just going to twist this extra branch all the way up here and then bring it out, so we get some nice coverage over on this side of the tree. And the only reason I can tell that is because I'm quite used to building the trees, obviously, in my style. I've done it quite a lot. I'm actually going to cut this tree down a bit in height. Keep that out there, and we'll just go up and across like that. So now I'm ready to start adding the fences, and I guarantee you that this tree will not look too pretty once I've added the fences. So here's what to do for fences. There's some pretty simple shapes and patterns that I use quite a lot with the fences. I'm just trying to find a nice place to start. So always go to sort of the end of these main branches and the small branches, and place a block coming off there, you know, and you go, that is one of the shapes that I use quite a lot. Just a simple 4-block design. Another one would be coming round like this in a sort of 3-block shape, and we've got this 4-block zigzag shape going on along here as well. So I'll do it again over here. This is that simple 3-block shape that I was on about, and that's just combining those two types. So we've got the 4 zigzag, then we've got the 3, which you can either do in like that, or you can wrap it round a log like that. You know, it's 2 ways of the 3, and then you've got that 4 coming off, and that's basically the only 2 shapes that I use throughout the whole tree, and it ends up looking quite nice, if I don't say so myself. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the zigzag. Goes out 2, down, and then out in another direction. This has just got a bit of a twist to it to make it a little more fancier. So I'm going to speed up quite a bit of this process of making the trees like this. and adding all the fences around, because it does take quite a while, especially with all the little odd bits here and there. And basically you just want to make sure that you fill enough areas with the fence, and if you don't, it's fine, because once you've added the leaves you'll see which areas need to be added to, and you can always go back and add more. So because I'm just going to rush through this and hopefully end up with a bad looking tree, so I can show you guys what to do once you get to the sort of almost finished stage, I'll cut back. Okay, so I've covered every branch, I think, with all of these fences. This is how it's starting to look right now, and it looks okay. It's quite interesting. And just before I put all the leaves on, I'm going to go over the top of the tree. Especially when you've got a log across like this, this is a great place to actually add a fence. And for the top of the tree, you basically want to join as many of these top branches up as you can, but make sure you sort of, you go up as well, so it actually creates a nice little canopy. So by that, I'm sort of going up to get all the blocks roughly about the same height, the same level, and I'm just cutting in here and there, like up there, and then that joins up together. I can come in here, and then I'll go up and join these two up, so there's a nice block of 3. In fact, I think I might even do that, use that 4 zigzag I was talking about earlier. So then we can join these two up. How are we going to do that? Well, just really simple, can't I? Just like that. And then we need to join these up here as well, so I'm going to come across the middle here by 2 blocks. That just joins that up real simple, and then I can go up and out 1, and I'm going to put a little zigzag on top here like this, and I might join this across here somehow. If I put extra logs up there, across like that, then we can join that across and do that maybe. I don't know. I don't think that's going to look right now when the leaves are on, but we shall see. So what I'm going to do now is off camera, because it will take even longer to do this than it just has for the fences, is on top of every single fence block, at the side of every single fence block, and underneath every single fence block like this, just add all of these leaves, and I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so we're back and we've made this thing. So I thought this tree was actually going to look pretty good, and if you get it at the right angle, it does. Especially from this angle, we just need to cut off this section here, add a few more leaves there, and it'll look great. But I'm just going to fly around and we'll see what you guys actually think. Again, from this angle, it looks quite good. It's almost perfect. I do think I want to lower it a bit, this tree, and I'm going to do that just to sort of make it a bit bulkier. That looks better already. From low down, these trees look pretty good, but as you can see, there are lots of areas where this tree looks bad, especially around the middle area, and that's my fault. In the initial planning, I definitely neglected areas when I was putting the fences round. So what I'm going to do now is to show you some little tips on how to improve those areas, and it's easy to do, especially once you've already got all the leaves on already. So as you can see, we've got a massive space here where it's really empty. So I'm just going to come in, look for somewhere where I can add a little branch. Maybe here, just come off like this, go 1, 2, come out another 2, delete that back block, come out one, and we'll make that go up just so it's not so flat and boring. Make that stay down and then come out another one like this, and then you can just put your fences around again just like that, and already you can see that that's going to start filling up that area, and because this is quite a large area it's going to need a lot of fences around, so I'm just going to spam a few using the little methods that I've come up with. That should be okay. Maybe do a few more over in this direction as well. Get rid of that, you don't need fences everywhere. And especially trying to get them to join up. Now this is another really bad section. It doesn't look too bad from this side, but as you come round and you can see it's just a complete flat gap there. So again, just by coming in like this a little bit, just adding a bit more depth to the sort of shape of the tree. So now that I've done that, I can just go over this bit of the tree again by adding leaves just on the top, the sides, the bottom of all the sizes. Now why do I use fences in the trees? I'm sure that people are going to ask that question because I've not addressed it yet, or at least not in this video. For me, it just adds that extra bit of detail to a tree. I know with Conquest texture pack you can have the cobblestone walls that look great, and you've got the fence metadators to actually look like the log textures, which is also just perfect for adding extra detail to a tree. But for people using default texture pack, or for people using other texture packs that don't have metadators, and now that we're in 1.8 and metadata has been taken away, stupid Mojang, so this just makes this sort of building more accessible to everybody. And look, already that gap's being filled. It doesn't look great, but it looks a lot better already. What else do we need to do? Well, I'm thinking this tree is a bit too wide, so I'm going to trim back on this side a little bit and just basically just find a sort of line that I want to cut from and just go in that straight line, just cut back there like that, and then we can just cover bits up. So I kind of like that staying there, that can stay there, these two blocks can still jut out. And just flick back to our image again, you can see it's quite a straight line down here. Hopefully you can see the cursor, quite a straight line down here, and this sort of bulges out a bit, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just a general idea of, you know, sort of what we're looking for with these types of trees. So if I just bring this out like that, and then we can have more of these sort of fences around just to add a bit more depth here and there. So that's just a sort of basic 3 shape that we had earlier going on. And if we come back to this side, you can see you've got that straighter line already. So again, what I'm going to do now is go back off camera, go around, add more leaves to sections that need more leaves, cut bits of the tree back like I've just shown you, and I'll come back with hopefully a very nice finished product. Okay, so welcome back. I've gone around this whole tree now. I'm quite happy with the way most of it is looking. I'm not too sure about this bit. I've deliberately left it just to give a bit of character to the tree. This side's looking quite nice. Just need to maybe trim this bit back a bit. Basically, the mistake I've made with this tree that I found out is that I've done the branches far too long. That's what's let this tree down, is the branches being too long, or the smaller branches at least are too long. But you know, it's been a while since I've made a tree. I've not really made a beech tree properly before, so I'm allowed to make mistakes, and this is something that I want everyone to do, is when they're making trees, don't be disheartened if it doesn't look great first time. I'm still very much learning how to make trees, even though a lot of people think I'm good at trees. I don't really think I am. But it does take a lot of time and effort. From this angle, this tree looks pretty awful, to be honest with you. I was going to lower the tree by 2 blocks as well, but there is a block limit on World Edit, which means I can't do that. So I'm going to raise the bottom of the tree up instead. And even having this little hole here, sometimes that would bug people, but for me that, you know, it adds to the character of the tree, gives a bit of realism. And the great thing about this style, the way I'm making the trees, is they are going to look different every time. It's just that you do have to have the characteristics of the tree in mind when you start to make it. So let's go over some of the characteristics of these other trees just to end quickly. We've got the elm tree. You know, it's a very sort of widespread dome shape. The alder tree, it was quite spiky towards the top. The small oak tree, you know, it's very similar to the beech. It's just it's more of a shallow curve, and then the beech has got quite a bit of a sharp curve at the top. And then the horse chestnut tree, again, similar to the beech, it's got a nice sharp curve and a flat top, but it's a lot taller from the sides. So that'll be the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope this helps with understanding different methods of making trees and how I make my trees. I'll be doing more of these, hopefully shorter ones, when I do some smaller trees as well. And I think that's about all that I need to cover in this video. Oh, one last thing before I do carry on. I've left this whole video recording, even though I'm going to be cut editing bits. And if we just click here, 1 hour and 5 minutes. That's how long I've been recording this one video for. So that gives you an idea of how long it takes to make one of these larger trees. And it'll probably take me another half hour just to fix bits that I don't like about it. Although having said that, I've been very distracted by you know, texts and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe not quite an hour, but it does take quite a bit of time and effort to make a really good tree. So don't expect it to be done in sort of 20 minutes. You know, it does require quite a lot of attention. Alright guys, welcome back. I've just decided to, you know, spruce this up a bit, make it look really good. Fixed some of the areas where it looked pretty bad. There is the odd bit here and there, but you know, it's nature. It doesn't have to look perfect everywhere. There's a little section here where it could maybe do with leaves. I've tried a lot to make this here not so round and bally and bulky. But for most of the tree, I'm actually really happy with the way this has turned out now. And this has all just been using the techniques that I was on about, of just, you know, cutting bits back here and there, going back in and adding extra sections where you think it might need a bit of fluffing up a bit. I really like this. I was tempted to cover it up, but I really like this opening, and this little section down here as well. It gives a bit of character to the tree. So I'm just going to go back to this picture here. As you can see, we've got this nice general round curve here. It's quite straight on the sides, quite flat on the top. And even here it's got that sort of section. That's how we can see all the branches. So if I look around and I look at this tree, you know, we've got the sort of the bulge there, and it comes round and it's a bit of a bulge there. It's quite flat on top, you know, depending on the angle you're looking at it. It's also quite steep on the sides, and you get that sort of shape from all around the tree, which I'm quite happy with. So this is it for my beech tree sort of how-to tutorial type video. And the other small thing that I have changed is the logs are changed to 17:12, so it's the whole covered texture. You don't have to do this if you do actually like the log bits showing, and sometimes I do, sometimes that works. I just thought I'd do that for a bit of a change, since all my other trees don't actually have that. You know, you can see all the end bits of the log. So this has been a long video. I've actually edited the rest of it and then come back and recorded this, so I know that the video is about 35 minutes long. So if you've stuck through to the end to watch it with me, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it helps. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.